Good morning, Sandy's Orchids. How are you doing? How are you? I've been trying to test how to mute. I hope you can hear me. Seeing as we're sitting right by the gate, if a car comes by blaring their soundtrack, I want to be able to mute it or anything else that is not pleasant, like me coughing or choking on my coffee. Good morning or good afternoon, Future Mark Inc. and Michelle Carini. Hey, it's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm okay. I'm sitting here with my gorgeous, gorgeous aphyllum. La vida es buenísimo. Aisha Simon, hi, it's good to see you. I have not seen you in ages, or is this the first time? Aisha, your name. Trying to pull from my photographic memory. I'm not entirely sure, but it's good to see you. And Robbie, good morning to everybody that is dealing with their good mornings. I've got coffee. It is 4 p.m. in southern Spain. And somebody has just got a new puppy in the neighborhood. Poor little thing must be barking, asking, calling for its mommies and daddies, because that thing is just like not happy at all. But I hope that's not going to interfere too much with the audio. It's good to see you, Michelle. I'm glad you're doing well. Sitting with your morning coffee. Well, that's awesome. You see, coffee is a fabulous drink. Meanwhile, it's not that hot here today. It's only been 22 degrees. It's overcast. I don't even have my umbrella out for my grecoids. A pretty strange day, but that's okay. It's pleasant. At least I'm not cold. I'm going to make sure that my dog stays out of my coffee. Andrea. Hey, Andrea or Andrea, not entirely sure. I am so glad that you could make it. It's nice to see you too. 8 a.m. in Alberta. Time check, time check. I have followed a new channel, and I have to say, I wish I could remember his name. But if he were to show up, I'll let you know. He's got a channel all about cacti. He's just recently found my channel. And I've subscribed to his channel, but I haven't been able to comment, so I'm not sure. He's got everything set on children. I'm hoping that maybe the time will fit that he can show up as well. I think he's in Las Vegas, so I'm kind of looking out for his name. Giovanna, it's good to see you. Saluti. Beautiful Rome. I've been to Rome 7 times. And I did not repeat a single thing that I was looking for while in Rome in those 7 times. Love that city. Love it. My goodness. I mean, apart from the roads you have to go to all the popular sites, but my most favorite, the longest time I have spent in Rome ever was like a week. And it was all around the Forum. I know, I sound like a tourist, but when I see Rome, think of Rome, it's just beautiful. So good to have you here, Giovanna Rotulo. Let me ask you, Giovanna, you are also new? It's the first time you're commenting? I don't remember your name. So a very warm welcome to you too. I know, right? Future Mark Inc. Oh, there's a guy also on YouTube who does the 4K virtual, like pro walking. He walks around with his GoPro. He doesn't say much. If anything, he just walks around the city. It's amazing. On one of his videos, he actually then does little like pointy things and inserts names and whatever he knows about whatever he's looking at. It's pretty amazing, and I don't know what it's called, something walk 4K, but he doesn't just do Rome, he does other cities and as well. Oh, that's fine, Giovanna. Listen, if you ever want to comment, I hope, you comment on my videos, comment in Italian. If I If I need help, I go to Google Translate. So you're always welcome to comment on any video, comment in your native language, and we will communicate. Thanks to artificial intelligence, which is much needed in this day and age. Personal intelligence is kind of lacking. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do a community post if I remember. I want to say it's like Future Walk 4K. I can't, but I'm seeing future. I'm seeing your name, Mark, so I'm not entirely sure if my mind is now meshing the two. Yeah, he's great. Really, really good. And there's nothing, there's nothing over the top. It's just him going on walks, and it's fantastic. Circus Maximus and everything. Fantastic. Oh, it's so good to have you represented here, Giovanna. Awesome. And Michelle Fucarini. I'm always wondering, you must have Italian heritage as well. Hey, Blaze. Sorry if you hear me swallowing. Thank you for joining on a little chill chit chat, whatever happens, whatever we talk about. Well, we just gawk at Dendrobium aphyllum because this is what I do. Not, I've never gone live like this before, but I do come out and sit here and have a cup of coffee and just stare at her while she's doing this. I'm going to try and remember, Mark, to put the things into a community post. But I'm hoping the guy from Vegas shows up because I thought that, it's a shame when you subscribe to someone, you want to let them know that you're supporting them back because they've come to your channel. And you're watching a video and you can't comment, say, hey, I'm here, hello, This Dendrobium, let's just say, it's been in my collection since 2018, so that makes 5 years. It had 4 scrawny little canes when it arrived. So I would say with the 2 little tiny canes, and those were the cakey canes initially, I would say it's about 8 years old. That's my best guess. And she is fragrant. But you have to literally put your head into all the blooms. Yes, which I do. The gap there is a natural gap. That's not me from shoving my head into it. But she has a rose fragrance. I hope you can hear me beyond the car. Sorry about that. She has a rose fragrance, but there's a hint of, dare I say, something citrusy. It's not lemon. It's a very light orange kind of fragrance. It's the first time I've noticed that note. Usually I would say delicate rose fragrance. No. This time there's a little bit of something extra. And I would say it's sort of a light, very light orange note. It's lovely. I will definitely do that, Giovanna. I will definitely make a video about Catasetinae. I have a playlist if you want to look for the Catasetinae lookbook. If you have any specific questions, then leave me a comment on any video in Italian, whatever question you have. And if I don't have a video on that, I will definitely make one. I recently made a video about how to carefully go about balancing the watering of Catasetinae as they come out of dormancy with the fact that the media stays wet because I grow mine in semi-hydroponics. So that is my most recent video about this genus. But if you're growing in bark, or if you dare and can grow a Catasetinae mounted, Hakuna Matata, I can definitely help you out there as well and do a video. It is Catasetinae grow time. It sure is. You're so welcome, Giovanna. I wish I could remember my Italian. I wish. I just know bad words. Why is it that when you learn a language, apart from the fact that you're I'm talking Latin language and Spanish, but why is it that if you don't practice the language properly, it's the bad words that you remember the most? I used to have a lot of Italian friends in Kenya. Malindi is a hub for Italians, and many of my school friends were from Italy, all in the cement industry. Converted 4 of them this year to pumice and semi-hydro. You're going to have beast mode. Watch and be amazed. I know. I love catasetinase. And if I told myself, well, I'm just going to start with the ones that I had. I've lost one because of mistakes that I've made. And based on those mistakes is why I say what I say in my videos. But I have to say that back in the day, I thought, well, these are going to be easy. They're not going to take up much space during the winter. I'm just going to store them, and then I can have like maybe 8 to 10 of them. And well, I'm glad I was too busy building the collection in other areas, because I would be so tightly pressed for space, because that is when they bloom. And it's like I have a hard time accommodating 2 large after dark black pearl spikes, let alone others, you know. Oh my goodness, but I would love to have more catasetinase. I'm looking to this day because, you know, she is so hard to find. She's so popular and so cute. It's the Rebecca Northern. I saw her on the Orchid Room. I think Stephen Van Campen Lewis has a variety as well, but they are, well, super duper pricey, very hard to come by. Oh, but they're adorable, and they stay small, which is nice. But the blooms are just delightful. Wanda Shaw, if she watches the replay, well, Wanda Shaw had a beautiful comment under one of the videos when she saw the aphyllum. I think it was the bloom video. And she said it looks like a bridal bouquet. And I'm like, yes, it really, really does. Imagine timing a wedding. You're an orchid aficionado. You're timing your wedding for an aphyllum to bloom, and all you do is walk down the aisle holding your mount. I put in my reply, you better have a spare one, like a bridal bouquet spare, because you don't want to be chucking that thing at your bridesmaids or all the single ladies. 2 spikes in its first year. So you've got a Rebecca Northern. Oh, lovely. Beautiful. I was trying to get Ciliano out of his cage into the jungle gym, but nope, he didn't want to come, so he's not here with me, unfortunately. But I can't be... I think he knows when it's from one location to the next. So I wanted him outside because I don't know how long we'll be chilling out here together, but he wouldn't step up and then let me hold him. He was like, yeah, no, not happening. So I thought, okay, dude, you're just going to have to stay in your cage. I can't have you outside flying around. He has found the flight path to my orchid grow space, and the first time he managed that, I was in the kitchen, I didn't notice, and he actually chewed on one of my orchid pseudobulbs, and this, now that they've dried out, I've seen he's done more damage than I initially thought, and it's my Gold Coast. Let me just go and check on the angraecoids, because the overcast has stopped. It's more sunny than it was when we started. Just make sure the leaves aren't warming up. I'm just going to get the umbrella out. I'm still here, ASMR. Oh my goodness, I also have to, at least I hope it doesn't get staticky for you guys while I walk away, but I also have to move my Lucnery, goodness me. I was just settling into a cloudy afternoon. There we go, the brolly is up. Huh. No, 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 no. Don't want any burning. Isn't it a wonderful problem to have? Don't want leaves burning in the sun as opposed to leaves burning because of cold. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. My little rainbow forest. Oh, hang on a second. Robbie, yes, that bloom. It is a megabud. I looked at it this morning, I thought, what are you, on steroids? Let me see, I have the camera at the... And it's really loud. Sorry, truck passing. Sorry. Ah! Sorry about that. Did you hear that? That is, ooh, that is something. I was thinking 4 o'clock would be great for many people, 4 p.m. But this truck, I was thinking maybe he'll have, driven by 3:30 p.m. We'd get lucky, but he makes such noise. And when I film, I hear him coming from a distance. I stop what I'm doing, let him do what he does, and then continue filming. It's a bit difficult on a live stream. Now, wait, hang on a second. You are getting, it's not that bad, you are getting the raw of the patio, as we do when we do these live streams. Okay, I've got the camera at a weird angle because she's prettiest from this angle. Let me show you the Cincorana bud. I looked at it this morning and I went like, are you kidding me? I hope that's in focus. Okay, here's the plant. Look at this. Isn't this amazing? The size of it. She's a small plant. Let's just say, look, here's my index finger. She doesn't reach the length of it. But hey, steroids, we're taking it. Okay, I'm going to put her back on the shelf because just watch me snap that thing. I also moved all my Rapiculus Lalias around again this morning because my patio configuration is not working out. I hope I didn't moon you then. Awkward. Hey, Andyland, it's good to see you. I know the size of that bud. It's like it's like somebody just copy and pasted something to make it more impressive than it is, on a thumbnail. That it's like, look at this bud and then clickbait. But no, it's already as big as a leaf would be. Happy days. It's good to see you, Andyland. All right, so I lost my train of thought. Choo-choo. I was just going to say something, but I completely forgot. Oh, yeah. I was thinking of doing another repot that wasn't going to be so cumbersome as my Parkinsonianum was. I was sweating bullets. But I was going to do that on a live stream as well. I want to do my Prismartocarpa, my huge Prismartocarpa. And she just needs an up pot, but I think I'm seeing 2 new growths coming out of that monstrosity, and oh, yikes. So I think that would be a nice one just to do on a live stream, chat, repot kind of thing. I don't know if Sunday is a good day. For most people, is 4 p.m. better, an hour earlier better than what I did with the other ones, 5 p.m. Hey, Clinton Carmen, hello. More from Italy. It's good to see you. My Durigan. Oh, Sandy. Want to see my Durigan. Sorry, that's my version of Greece. I can tell you that we're probably going to have some blooms. That growth is just boom, chakalaka-laka. Yums. I saw it this morning and I was like, do I help the leaf just a teeny tiny bit? She's doing fine. Absolutely fine. Got some more calcium nitrate this morning just because, It's just amazing. Yeah, so I'm just wondering, 4 p.m. this time, is it better for the majority? Are you heading out of your home? Are you still in your home? Maybe just 30 minutes you would be able to join a live stream. Is 5 p.m. a little bit too late for you? Yonder, maybe in Australia, 5 p.m. is already midnight elsewhere. I don't know. That's why this one is at 4 p.m. just to see if it's more convenient. And then I would say it's hammer time for the Panarica Prismartocarpa on Sunday is when I would do it. Because Saturday, it's Coronation Day. I don't know about you. I'm into stuff like that. I'm so excited. I've been brushing up on my history about all the paraphernalia, all the rituals, so that I can somehow discern what he's going to do different, what he's leaving out, etc., etc. Oh my goodness, it's director Jose Josef in the house. If you didn't know, I have a Ninja Orchids director in India. Here he is. Oh, it is wonderful to see you. This gentleman has his orchids in the garden. He does his own mounts. I am so, so happy to see you. This is not a class today, Jose. I don't know. Jose, help me, forgive me. I'm sorry. But we're just sitting here enjoying the blooms on a Spanish afternoon. That's it. We can talk about anything and everything. It's not a class. It's not really a class, unless you see me misting it, you know. It's just so that it's just so pretty for 2 weeks. That's it. And then she's gone. So I sit here normally by myself. And I've got normally Ciliano in the jungle gym while I sit here and look at the blooms. So I decided to go live. And if anybody wanted to sit with me, here we are. Clinton Carmen says, I'm late, just got home. You have a question? Okay. Your seedlings have arrived. Yes, I'm happy to hear that Orchid Garden sent you some nice ones. That's awesome. It is an amazing color for a Cattleya leopoldii. It is fantastic if your leopoldii has that color on the new growth. That is normal. Rejoice. It's anthocyanin because the orchid, the bloom, everything has a lot of anthocyanin in it. That means she had the right levels, light levels before she came to you. And you should encourage that. Now, if she just grows a new growth with just green, that's absolutely fine as well. But then you know that you need to up the light levels a little bit. If I could show you my Cattleya leopoldii, which I can't because of where she is living at the moment, it's all a bit cumbersome to fandangle her out. You will also see that my leopoldii new growth is purple in color, and it's fine. And you are absolutely right. I didn't even finish your second comment. And that's exactly right. With a purple virus, yes, that is something completely different. Nothing to do with what you're seeing on your leopoldii. If it was purpley, ringy, and looking funny, that could be a symptom of a virus. Doesn't have to be, but it could be a symptom. But in the case of your leopoldii new growth, nope. That means the nursery was doing it right and gave it enough light. Perfect. Hey, Brea. Waving right back at you. Good morning. I am very happy to see you, Trisha-san. I thought as much. So I'm trying to work things in such a way at least people can come and say hi, enjoy the blooms while they're on their way out to work. I do appreciate that you did pop in. Orchid Ninja Trish-san. And I hope that you have a great day and that your weekend is just going to be fabulous. Hey, Anita. I know, isn't she? Oh, shucks. It's so good to have people here to talk to. Otherwise, I'm going, bum, 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 doing, birdie sounds with my cockatoo. And the neighbors think I'm cuckoo, and they're right. No, you're welcome. Just keep asking. People that ask questions, I love it. I love it because you also bring things to mind that I don't think of, that I may have forgotten. So when you bring a question in, I'm like, do I remember it straight away? Or is it like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot. Yes, and then this. Love it. Have a great day, Trisha-san. Thank you so much for popping on here. You be safe, okay? Yeah, so I am completely wrapped up in this coronation business, and that is happening on Saturday. So I think there will be a video for Saturday. Not sure. No, I think there'll be a video for Saturday, but definitely on Sunday I'd like to go live with my Prismarta Carpa and then just hang out on the terrace and do an up pot. That's the plan anyway. Who knows what we will find in the pot. It's what I said about my Parkinsonianum, and then all of a sudden I got brave. Oof, that was nerve-wracking. When I started it, I thought, why am I doing this today? What was it? Because I have other things that I wanted to film, but I couldn't because the drill didn't work, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And all of a sudden it just occurred to me, and I hesitated for a second, and I'm thinking, just do it. Just do it. What can go wrong? Oh, so many things could go wrong. I'm hoping she's going to settle in now, though. And then afterwards, even after the repot, I sat and I looked at the pot in the corner, and I thought, you know what? That root system wasn't that extensive. I didn't need to put her into an oversized pot. I could have just bumped her up one pot size as opposed to going, mental with the pot size I chose. I thought to myself, why didn't I think of that before? And then I remembered, which I didn't put in the video, I completely forgot. And then I remembered the pot size has to be for the future of the orchid, as also with regards to the weight that she will increase because she will grow more growths. So if I have taken her from, let's say, 5 inches or 6 inches that she had and only put her into 7 inches, which would have worked, absolutely. Her root system, aeration, we'd have done all that work. That would have worked. That was a car, by the way. That wasn't me. Anyway, the size of the orchid and the weight of the orchid, that pot would have been too small, and it would have been a danger of having her topple over. These are the things that I forget because I contemplate repotting sometimes for months, well, in this case, 2 years even. And then I remembered as I sat there, no, you did the right thing. And I just, I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad. Because I could have easily during the video said, hey, we only need to bump her up one pot size. And then afterwards I would have thought, no, you dum-dum. So, anyway. Yeah, I did. I really did, Robbie. That was no joke. So that was the 3 steps on the thumbnail. There was the nerves, and there was the focus, and then we got to repotting. It really was. And I thought, should I do this as a live stream? Because I could have done her later. I could have done, and I thought, no, I need this one. Because I had to take a break, and I hadn't even gotten the orchid out of the pot. So it wasn't like I put her down, pretended, take a break, and start again. No, my hands were cramping up from the squeezing I was doing. The footage I had was 2 hours long. So, oh, incredible. So happy it's done. Thank you so much, Clinton, for this super chat. Oh, I so appreciate it. I can't see. Is that on the beach? Thank you. My favorite place. I don't go to the beach anymore, though, because, beached whale. It's not nice. Okay. Brassolalia cattleya has the same care with cattleya. Yes and no. I would like to know the parent of the Laelia. Who is the Laelia in that? Because I'm going to tell you, we have Brassavola, that's a genus. We have Laelia, that's a genus. We have Cattleya, that's a genus. Laelias, some of them are now Cattleyas. So if your tag is correct and says BLC, I would like to know who is the Laelia in there. If the Laelia is a purpurata, then we need to talk. Because Laelia purpuratas are Laelia, Cattleyas, but they also like lower temperatures. Who is your Cattleya, by the way, as a parent? Because some Cattleyas like very high temperatures. So I would go, until you give me the exact name or you know the parents or whatever, I would go with give it Cattleya care. But if there is a highlight parent in there, it may or may not bloom, because Cattleyas hybrids can bloom at lower light levels, but not if a parent is a very high light orchid. Let's say like the Brassavola are very high light orchids, or they won't bloom. So when it comes to temperature, watering, fertilizing and all that, yes, same as the Cattleya. When it comes to probably having difficulties blooming, that's when the parentage is super important. Schmell-Leip, it's good to see you. I hope I'm saying your name. Thank you so much for joining in on the conversation. It's good to have you. I hope that you're doing well. I hope you're not too cold, and I mean that kindly. I'm not sitting here going, no, 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 no. I know the feeling. It's horrible. So I hope that you're doing well. Also, if you look at the live chat, the bold print on the top under the screen, if you tap that, it should give you, it says top messages there. If you tap that, and mine is not doing it, and I don't know why, it should say all messages, and I would say go with all messages. Good morning, Orchids by the Lake. Good morning. I hope I'm not boring you with my beautiful blooms of the Dendrobium aphyllum. I hope it is a good morning yawn, as in you're just now starting your day. Because if you're bored by this show, I think we need to talk. Oh my goodness, it is Cattleyanth, as everybody treat them same as a seedling. Cattleyanth, yes. SLC, Sophrolalia, Cattleya. Cattleyanth, don't put that into direct sun. Don't give it too cold temperatures. Do not allow Cattleyanthus to go below 8 degrees Celsius, no matter what you see on my channel. I'm losing Cattleyanthus quicker than I can say boo, because it's too cold for them. So 18 degrees is the minimum, 20 if you can do that. Cattleyanthus do not like cold temperatures. They do not like direct sun. They are bifoliate. They're so rewarding and gorgeous when they bloom. But yeah, don't play with light on that one. SLC is a Sophronitis Laeliocattleya. From what I can tell, Sophronitis has been now reclassified. Sorry about that, car. Sophronitis has now been reclassified to Cattleya. So you have a Laeliocattleya. Treat them same as a seedling. That's fine. Lucy the cat, meow meow. It's good to see you. Hey, no late. There's no late here. There's no late here. I call this the city bus. The Orchid city bus. Hop on, hop off. You've got the ticket for the ride for the day. And join in the conversation if you can. And if not, then I make great, great white noise. I do that very, very well. You just woke up, but I got to tell you, I'm so glad that you decided to come in here, even though you've just woken up. Yeah, it's very early for you. Just got an aphyllum. I hope it'll do well for you this year as well. Absolutely. I shouldn't see why not. You've got the conditions. It should be a doddle for you, Orchids by the Lake. Do you have a specific variety, a named cultivar, or just like mine, plain Jane over here? I don't know. And I actually, do you know, this is a funny little story. Funny. Let's just say, it depends on your humor. I had to giggle anyway, when I got my aphyllum, I bought her as Lelia. I bought her as Dendrobium perennii. All right, so I saw a film on Alberto, who's now at Kew Gardens. I saw his channel and I saw his specimen and I said, I have got to have this orchid in my life. So I also, for indoors, because I thought in the beginning I would need to bring her inside because I was never sure about my temperatures and her exposure here, how she would cope. But for indoors, I have a special rod sticking out at one part of the grow space that you never see because it's behind where my desk is, and I would hang her there for the winter. Never needed that space. Meanwhile, she came outside and this is where she's been living all this time. But so I bought her as Dendrobium perennii, and my first little load of things for Fernanda Nascimento orchids and succulents were keikis of Dendrobium perennii. Now, Alberto did say it was an aphyllum. When I was Googling, aphyllum showed up as perennii. So I thought, okay, maybe he misspoke. Anyway, I sent my perennii keikis to Fernanda because hers hadn't established yet. I wasn't sure, her aphyllum hadn't established yet, so I thought maybe I should send her some perennii keikis, just, you know. Turns out Fernanda writes back, thank you so much, I've already got an aphyllum. And I'm like, then I continue reading. She said, perennii is a synonym of aphyllum. And I was like, oh, duh. I tell you, total mind fart when I bought this orchid because all I saw was what Alberto had, and I said, I need this orchid. I saw perennii and I'm like, bring it on, whatever. And then a couple of years later, Fernanda tells me it's the synonym. So the name tag, I don't even know if I've changed it. It says perennii. So I have Laelia perennii, Dendrobium perennii, and somewhere I've got a Brassavola perennii. So there you go. I got certain things I just can't forget. It's a regular one, but has variegated leaves. That in itself is an oxymoron, orchids by the lake. There's no such thing as a regular variegated orchid. That is amazing. That is a special one. Excuse me. Oh, I did practice the mute button, didn't I? Okay. That is not regular. That is special. If I have time, could I please talk about the care of hard cane dendrobiums? Are you talking about, let me make sure, hard cane, how we can interpret hard cane to soft cane. Let me make sure I get that right, because is there such a thing as a soft cane dendrobium? Just checking. Because, for example, Dendrobium phalaenopsis, those canes are pretty hard. My nobilis canes are pretty hard, but the two of them are completely different in their care. The Dendrobium phalaenopsis cannot tolerate anything below 20 degrees Celsius, whereas my nobili can. So I just want to make sure that I'm really understanding that. It's very difficult to put something into a category like that, Shmel. Then you're fine. Clinton Carmen, then you're fine. Grow lights are safe. The sun is brutal. Speaking of brutal, hang on a second. Let me just check something, because I did have the curtain up of the blooming alley, because it was overcast. And now we've got full sun, even though it's late afternoon. Better be safe than sorry. Let's put the curtain down. At least this way we don't have to fret. There we go. How fast to den fowls? Okay, there you go. Thank you, Shmel. Sandy, I'll get to you. Shmel, Dendrobium phalaenopsis, the brightest shade that you can provide at all times. Highlight, they are continuous growers. They don't have a grow season and then they go into dormancy or rest phase. None of that, okay? The brightest shade that you can provide. And I mean bright. I mean anything short of direct sunlight, that's what they need. They like it hot, all right? They are warm to hot growers. So anything below 20 degrees Celsius, they will hate it. Anything below 22 degrees Celsius, between 20 degrees and 22 degrees, yeah, that's okay. If you can keep everything above 25 degrees Celsius all the time with bright shade, you're going to do really, really well. And water them, because once they start with their spikes, they're already chasing the hormones down to the base. The new growths will start even while the orchid is still in bloom. And that is the reason I don't grow Denphals anymore. I lost them within the first 2 years because I wasn't heating my winter holding space to the degree that they liked. I was keeping it at 18 degrees Celsius, which everybody else can deal with. They hated that, and it took 2 seasons and they were gone. And I have not replaced them for reasons that we all now know. And then you just fertilize the dickens out of them, Schmel, because they love all of that. They are just, ooh, I love them. Unfortunately, I cannot grow them. Well, I can, but I refuse to make accommodations for them. Hope that helps. Hey, Portugal! Welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us for a stint there. You are a busy, busy lady. Okay, so how fast do Oncidium sherry spike to mature? How fast, as in from seedling juvenile to blooming size, or how fast does it take a spike to develop? They should be relatively quick to bloom, but the spike development can take months. Think twinkle for a spike until it grows to full size, until the buds start to separate. Hang on a second, I'm going to mute. I hope that worked. If I can get my mute button to start being a feature, that'll work perfectly. That was the big truck. I swear, when I hear him coming, it reminds me of a stampede of elephants, and then it's like, stop. So I hope you didn't hear that, because that spooked me even the last time he drove by. All right, so think twinkle when it comes to the spike duration or how quickly they bloom out. I would love to have a sherry baby. No, I'm not hinting. Anybody in Europe that's listening to this, please do not think that now I'm hinting and somebody send me a sherry baby. I do not have the space, okay? So I'm just saying, hypothetically, if the world were a perfect place here on my patio and indoors, I would love to have a sherry baby, and I would already have a sherry baby, but for space, okay? Nobody send me a sherry baby. Thank you. It's the thought that counts. I didn't say this to hint. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful what I throw out into the universe. Yeah, the spike. Hey, big cuddle for your kiddos. Orchids by the lake. You have a fabulous, fabulous day. Goodness me. Have a great day. Exciting. I hope your little one is doing much, much better. I know it's been a while, but since the last time we spoke, I hope she's doing better. The spike. Yep, I would say think twinkle, Sandy. Your sherry baby is growing a spike. Oh, goodness. Yep. Okay, so we are in the beginning of May. Sorry for that gate, please. That thing gives me PTSD every time. And then when I go to edit, it's like, ugh! There it is again. Yeah, think July, mid-August. But then you should have it all the way through to fall, as far as I'm concerned. That's how long it can also bloom. Usually, this is what I have found. Usually, an orchid that takes forever to bloom out once you see a spike also has long-lasting blooms. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but it was one of those things that I wanted to put into my slipper update for the Care Collab. Completely forgot because I was just yapping away about my orchids. Completely forgot to drop that observation. Don't know if anybody else has ever noticed, but if you have an orchid that takes forever to actually bloom once you see a spike or a bud, that means those are long lasting. Now, there is no golden rule in the orchid hobby, as we all know, but I would say 95% it's pretty good. Nina, the best medium for me. Your winter, my room becomes humid. Sometimes I get mold on the terrace and dry in summer. What do you think is the best medium? I have Leca at the moment. I'm afraid of bark and Sphagnum moss. If your winter becomes humid, that's great as long as you can keep the temperatures above 18 degrees Celsius. You will be absolutely fine in Leca. All right? Applause from Sandy. I take a bow. Yeah, Leca, look, before everything went tits up in my life, pardon the reference, but I have no other way of saying that without YouTube shutting this live stream down because frustration is real. I had no issues with regards to cold roots in Leca, and it was perfectly fine at 18 degrees Celsius. Even with orchids that can tolerate 15 degrees Celsius. But in Leca, never forget there is evaporative cooling. And I have never stuck a thermometer down into the pot. But I like to go with, let's say, a margin of error. If I get it wrong by 1 degree, it won't be detrimental to the orchid. So my low temperatures, I'm guessing, are in my pot are 15 degrees Celsius during the winter if my grow space stays at 18 degrees Celsius. And if you can manage that, never mind the humidity, none of that is important. Orchids love humidity. Keep the airflow going, 18 degrees Celsius in Leca, it'll be just perfect. Your after dark took forever to develop the spike, and the blooms lasted for about 2 months. Yes, Andy Land, and aren't they amazing? And can you imagine? I'm so don't want to jinx it because, I don't want to look forward to blooms and then have this, punch in the gut moment when something goes wrong. But if my after dark with 2 new growths makes it throughout the summer and grows those 2 new growths, that'll be 4 spikes if she does the 2 spike per bulb thing that she normally does. Oh, I'm gonna die. And she takes forever, and it is such a dicey moment because by that time all the orchids are inside and this orchid is developing her spikes. Oh, so nerve-wracking. By the time she finishes blooming, Andy Land, I'm telling you, so happy. It's like, is it really worth all the stress? But yes, it is. It is. Oh, goodness me. She's going to need her another little pedestal fixture with 2 bulbs, 4 spikes. I don't know. I'm going to have to put her somewhere with the angraecoids. And also, then, the slipper orchids. Just think about it, right? You see a bud. You see that little thing that's developing in the apex of the leaf, of the growth point. Yay, she's going to bloom. You can just, take care of the orchid. Don't even worry about it and come back in 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, and then you'll have a bloom kind of thing, right? But how long are they blooming for? Months. So I just thought, that makes a lot of sense. Same as with dendrobiums, for example. Oh, hey, we're sitting in front of the exception. I told you, 95% correct. This does not apply to the aphyllum that we're just gawking at here. It doesn't apply because the spikes from the moment the canes crack to the point of the buds opening is 3 months. At least it was for me this year because the first crack of the canes, I photographed it. Just to have it on record. And 3 months. The care collab was with let me just make sure. No, 10 weeks, maybe? I don't know. I'll have to check my records again. So anyway, it doesn't apply. It took forever to get this to bloom, and they're going to be gone in 2 weeks. I'm glad I said 95% of the time it's true. But anyway, you look at other dendrobiums, like a Roy Tokunaga or something. Oh, goodness me. Here comes a spike. Yippee-yi-yay. Dendrobium baryota. Yay, you see spikes, and then it takes a long time. Takes a long time. By the way, speaking of, I think I jumped past a comment. It's not like we're here inundated with comments. I thought I saw a comment about Masai Mara. If you're still in here, Future Mark Inc. Okay, there's the one. Renanthera vietnamensis, follow. Oh, okay, okay. Let me just go up a little further. Sorry, Future Mark, if you're still here, I'm so sorry. There was something else that also caught my attention about Masai Mara. Sandy's getting a Masai Mara. I'm about to have a conniption here. Cartwheels around the patio for Sandy. Woohoo! That is happy, happy news. Okay, I thought I saw that go past. All right, here we are. Renanthera vietnamensis. Okay, I don't have her. I have the Monachica and Caloptera, which are slow growing. Here comes a... Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to mute. Slow growing. So there's that, okay? Bright, bright shade, okay? Don't give them any direct sun. The leaves are fleshy, succulent-like. It's too stressful. They literally cook very, very quickly. Watch out for stem rot on any Renanthera. I don't care which one it is, watch out for stem rot. If you've got high humidity, that is great. They absolutely love it because their roots go everywhere if, they have the facility, the capability of doing so. Mine are potted up in Orchid top and lava rock and some Seramis. But that's because I have a super, super dry climate, okay? But having said that, stem rot is the biggest and quickest taker-outer of Renanthera. So be very, very mindful if you have high humidity to make sure there's plenty of airflow. If you want to increase your humidity around the orchid, sit her in a dish of water so that there's also more humidity for the leaves and the underside of the leaves to absorb. But stay away from, stay away from sphagnum moss around the base to up humidity, increase root growth, all of that stuff that works for many, many monopodial orchids. It is going to take your Renanthera out at some point in time. I lost my first Monachica because I was doing that, and during the winter, everything was fine, and everything looks fine up until the last minute, and all of a sudden there's leaves dropping, and they're dropping a little too fast for comfort. It's done. It's over. It's history. She is such a slow grower. She is not going to recover. It's not going to be saved. That is my biggest thing. Bright shade without burning the leaves. High humidity with airflow. Keep everything away from the stem as best as possible. Phalaenopsis schilleriana. Now, here's the thing. When you put that comment in there, it says crossed with Phalaenopsis schilleriana. A Renanthera vietnamensis crossed with Phalaenopsis schilleriana. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. If Mark is still in here, I want to see. He probably left. He probably thought I was ignoring him. Okay, Mark, if you come back to this, or the next time I see you in a comment under a video, I'm going to ask you about that cross. A Renanthera crossed with a Phalaenopsis schilleriana. If that was a mistake, a typo, then a Phalaenopsis schilleriana care video is in my Phalaenopsis lookbook playlist. And one thing I can say about that orchid, very, very quickly, right out the top of my head. Throw calcium at a Phalaenopsis schilleriana like there is no tomorrow. They love calcium. Okay, Clinton Carmen says, but the thing is, if I open my window during winter, I'm afraid they'll die because of low temperature below 10. For medium, should I mix leca and bark? You can do that too. Yeah, you can do that. Absolutely. But if you, when I'm talking airflow, if you cannot open a window, maybe have a fan going, a little bit of a fan, oscillating fan that can distribute the air in and around their bases. Because airflow doesn't just come from the window. What you can do, for example, if you're in the kitchen, I don't know where you're growing your orchids, Clinton Carmen, but let's say you're in another room at the opposite end of the house, you open a window there just to, eventually even, doesn't have to be long. We're talking airflow, not fresh air. While fresh air is awesome and should be done as often as possible, if it's not possible, the air should not stay stagnant. It needs to keep moving. Schmel, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. How long does a denfal growth take to mature, and any tips to get rid of water spots on leaves? Okay, a denfal growth will take probably 3 months, 3.5 months to mature. I mean, when they start growing, they're the funnest orchid to watch grow. They're so much fun. The amount of roots that they chuck out, it is just, ugh. Again, when I had mine, I so enjoyed them. And then just to watch them go so quickly. Wow. So 3.5 months. Now, they won't bloom straight away. They will usually take their sweet time before you start seeing spikes. But usually, in spring, like round about now, denfals should be coming up left, right, and center. The growth should be mature by July. So much fun while they grow the roots at the same time. And then they'll chill out, and probably about September, maybe October, they'll start on their spikes. That was the cycle of mine. Mine were blooming just before Christmas, seeing as they're a hybrid. Some would start in February, so it's a mixed bag. But they won't bloom as soon as their new growths have matured. To get rid of water spots on leaves, take 50% fresh lemon juice with 50% of the cleanest water that you have with the low parts per million, because you're not trying to add any of the watermarks. And then gently wipe the leaves down with that mixture on a cotton disc or something. And I do say 50%. Some people go in straight with pure lemon. That works as well. I'm always a little bit like, yeah, I'm a very cautious person in these instances. But you take the lemon juice and you dilute it. If after everything has dried, you still see marks, don't worry about it. Repeat the application maybe a couple of days later. Don't go back to back to back. Lemon is an acid after all, so be very careful just not to be too rough or heavy-handed. Sometimes we get orchids from nurseries that are absolutely splotched with calcium, like a fertilizer residue, and then we all want to get them off and shiny and looking nice, and it can be a bit too aggressive. So take it easy. If it doesn't all come off in one go, after a week, do it again. Eventually it'll be gone. Some of my orchids on the underside of the leaves still have the residue on the underside of the leaves because it doesn't faze me. I would rather, they're doing well. I don't want to mess with the stomata by messing around with trying to get rid of them. It's the first bloom and it's a small orchid. Got to start somewhere, Sandy. At least you're getting it. That makes me so happy. Mine, to be honest with you, when I bought mine, I thought I could easily have it inside. She was small. For me, it was a medium-sized orchid. And what have I got now? I've got an orchid that is beast mode outside on the patio and has to deal with conditions that she probably goes, what am I doing here? And I'm just saying, thank you for being here, So, Blaze Zeroni, good tips about the Mona Chica. I was thinking of getting one. They have them at the nursery last week. Was very tempted, advised to get someone with no experience. No, get one. And be patient. they bloom even while they're small. So it's not like you can get a big, massive spike or something right out of the gate, but you don't have to wait 5 years like if you get a small angrecoid. Where you're waiting, the thing has to mature, don't disturb the roots, blah, 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 you know? The Monachica will give you a spike. You may have 4 blooms on your first spike, but it's such a delightful little one. And they do last a long time. Oh, and I forgot, I have a citrina as well, and she's doing fabulously, except she doesn't get enough light during the winter in my conditions. So she has stopped branching her spikes, but her last most spectacular blooming was for me in 21, I think. Yeah, that's when she was still a little bit smaller and she could fit on the glass shelves during the winter. And now that she's got these stabby, pointy roots going all over the place. Anyway, we're going to get 4 citrina blooms. That's all she can give for me for the time for what she gets light-wise. I'll take it. She's alive. So that's what's important. Blaze, speaking of my nursery visit last week, I got my first hibiki. Yes, I can see why you are nervous but excited about the Mazdi. Yes, I do get that very, very much. Congratulations on your hibiki. Awesome, awesome. We are a movement with the hibikis. Let's do it. One day I'm going to ask everybody to submit their hibiki pictures to me on an email, and I'll make a little collage. Very popular orchid. I think it's totally underrated. But if you've been watching my channel and also Fernanda's channel, you know that between the two of us, we are bonkers about hibikis. Can't get enough of hibiki. Mine is starting to move. I'm seeing some nubbins. I'm not entirely sure. I think I'm going to have some blooms because I've got 2 pieces now. It's not going to be spectacular. Maybe I'll get a keiki as well. Maybe she's going to be just giving me a reaction from being split the way I did just before winter. But she's doing fine. Yep, that's what YouTube is doing right now. Ads everywhere. Even if I put my ads, sorry, I'm just creature of habit. When the gate goes, I stop talking. Even when I don't put any ads on my channel, like except for the start and at the end, I have people telling me I've got so many ads, and I'm like going, that wasn't me. While I need the income from YouTube, what I don't like is ruining the viewer experience. So I have this live stream monetized. Yes, I do. But that is for like the replay, for example, ads at the beginning and at the end. Now, I'm also getting ads when I see other people's live streams, or I follow a true crime community. And suddenly, I've got an ad in the middle of a live stream. So, if you've missed something, then ask again if you didn't hear anything, and I'm happy to repeat myself. Robbie, banana peel to clean off. Yes, banana peel has a lot of acid in it as well. That is true. It also attracts a lot of little insects that like that kind of stuff as well. I don't know if you get bugs or something, if you see anything. Excuse me, just one moment. I can mute now that I don't have to cough in your ear. I can't do banana peel where I'm at because of the ants. The ants are back. Let me just make sure I get my charger. We should be okay with the camera, but should is not a guarantee. Let me just make sure that we don't lose connection. Your Bicky has a spike. Fernanda, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you repot just recently, Fernanda? You know, I divided mine last year just when the new growths were starting because hibikis will grow roots when the new growths are about maybe 5 centimeters, 2 inches. So that's when I repotted mine to take advantage of that. So the new growths, my winter growths, as per usual, aren't that big, but they're not that small either. So they've stayed the same size despite the repot. Oops, let me actually plug that in, not just bring it out. Plug it in, woman. And a second, I hope there's no crackling. Ooh, that was a good did that. We were at 38%. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, we're up and running again. Put some juice in there. Okay, got no insects. You repotted it just now, okay. Well, I hope it doesn't abort. I have 2 pieces. They're doing great. One of them is starting a 4th new growth. It's a machine. I love it. Okay, so Robbie said, yes, Joe on our list mentioned it. So I don't know what that is about. Talking amongst yourselves, that is awesome. I do not know that there is a tall or short form of hibiki. No. For me, I have not seen any hibikis that are an actual hibiki that are an exponential size. No. I've only seen the small or the compact ones. So I can't answer that with certainty, Lucy the cat. But if there is a tall form of hibiki, I want one. Of course. Just one moment. You're very welcome. I don't know why I've got the cough suddenly. There's such a thing, for me, as far as I'm concerned, it was always a myth. I never really felt it. But there's such a thing called, that they identify here as Malaga cough. When the air gets too dry, people start coughing, not because they're ill, but because the air is so dry. But I had 84% humidity today. It was overcast up until maybe 40 minutes ago. So just kind of developing this cough thing. Anyway, sorry about that. Fernanda said she had a hibiki which was taller. Now, can I ask Fernanda where you got that one from? And what happened to it? And I don't want to expose you or anything, Fernanda. I'm not trying to catch you out. But A, if there is a tall version of a hibiki, I want one. And no, I'm not asking anybody to send it to me. It's just I know what I need to put on my list. Josh Riepsommer. Hello. I have a mini form of hibiki called baby hibiki. That's awesome. Mini form, as in less than 10 inches on a mature size growth? Same place. And she still has it, Fernanda? Does she want to propagate it? Maybe? Just, dropping some hints here, not so subtle. Baby hibiki sounds absolutely divine. Yes, it does. Just started to storm, okay. It's still alive, that's awesome. So are you saying it's taller because it's got double the size? The canes are double big, or how much bigger are those canes? Is it a hibiki? Oh, my mind is going 100 miles an hour now. What am I missing? As other orchids fade away, I'm kind of thinking, these are doing so well. So, can I have some more, please? It's 5 or 6 inches so far. Well, let me see. That's about the size of my tallest. Maybe mine is about 8 inches. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, mine's about maybe 8 inches. but my winter growths never get beyond 6 inches. They never go bigger than that. What grows after the orchid finishes blooming, that gets a little bit larger. Blaze, when you look at the apex, when you look at the cane or whatever is growing, the leaves will open up and there will be no more leaf in the middle. That's when you know it's mature. It kind of stops. As long as a new leaf is growing in the middle, that cane is still actively growing. And then let me just check the leaves on a few things here. A few things that haven't been exposed to this much light. So make sure that if you see your cane is growing and you can still see there's another leaf coming, keep fertilizing, keep watering. I hope it is that simple. I'm not trying to brush the question aside. Literally, that's it. There'll be no more leaf coming out. You still have to work. Oh, okay. Listen, you're lucky, sweetheart. Clinton, Carmen, you're lucky. One day I hope to be able to put up a community post and say, guys, the videos will be XYZ during the week now because I have found part-time employment. So you have yourself a fantastic day, Clinton, Carmen. Thank you so much for stopping by. I so appreciate it. And thank you for your little super sticker. Thank you so, so much. So appreciated. Yeah, we'll see. Because if the hibiki is taller, I mean, the two parents aren't that tall. That's why I'm surprised to hear about a taller form. That's my drink. King is looking at my water bottle and me. So let me just give him some water. Every time I water my orchids, my plain bucket is there for him. And is he gonna? Yeah, he's having some. My plain RO water is there for him because when I go around misting my orchids, he comes along and he's like drinking out of the fertilized bucket. So I always have to give him a jug of my plain water. He is everywhere, everywhere. When I was setting this up with all the extension cord, trying to get the camera angle right to make sure that the aphyllum looks, presentable, I just couldn't. His tail, his nose, everywhere. I mean, you can't exactly complain. It's kind of sweet, but dang, I'm like, don't move the camera because even the tripod is at a weird angle. Anyway. So, who's going to be watching the coronation on Saturday? Question. By the way, Fernanda, have your Gloriosa lilies come up yet? I've been wondering because mine are now taking off. Oh, gosh, I got to move another orchid. Hang on a second. My Coleogyne pandorata is outside. She hasn't seen a lot of light either. What was once a cloudy day has become a bright, sunny afternoon. I know. Not yet. Oh, gosh, I hope everything's going to go well. Because I put mine late into the pot, later than usual. I just, because I first wanted to send you the tubers and not unearth or unsand them and then not have time to do them. And I was constantly away from the patio during the month of March. It was so aggravating. I don't know, 3 fingers? 4-finger width depth down? The depth for, let's say, 4 fingers? That should be plenty. I mean, they're not silly. Because mine took a long time to come up. Let's say long compared to what I'm used to. but I was like maybe 3, 4 weeks behind on planting them. So I thought, yeah, okay, fine, that's it. The batch is gone. And then all of a sudden, two came up, and I thought, yay, at least I've still got two. And now I've got 8. Do I have 8 coming up? You know what the gardener did the first time? The first one that was sprouting too soon, I planted it. He came and took it out. He nipped it off. He thought it was a weed. This gardener, I swear, he doesn't. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 up now, plus the one that he plucked. So they're up, and I've been misting them with garlic alcohol because I have a feeling they were the source of my thrips last year. So they've been moved. Okay. Yeah. I know. I was like, I was so gutted. All he needed, I mean, oh, never mind. We won't go there. I just did, but it's like, really? I mean, the first time I moved in with my orchids here, it was like he didn't know. He asked me what kind of plants were these. And I was like, okay, all right. Anyway, and you know what? I want him to take the bougainvillea out of the corner here on the east side. I've been asking for the past 2 years. I can't do that myself. If I could, I would. But he hasn't done that, but he rips out something in a pot. Incredible. Incredible. Anyway, having said all that, yeah, maybe because it's a little bit later, but they should come up. They should. The only thing is that it's a little bit nerve-wracking because you're excited to see them. And now, since I sprayed mine 3 days ago, they've doubled in size. So I didn't even look at them this morning because I watered them yesterday. And just now when I went to count, I was like, excuse me, you're bigger. It's so much fun to grow some normal plants every once in a while because it's like, hello. You've learned that masdevallias don't like the alcohol garlic on the underside of the leaves, at least the one I have. Shame on your gardener plucking out your new shoot. Yes. The underside of the leaves, depends. If they're open, don't touch the underside of the leaves. If the stomata are open, if they're closed, it shouldn't be an issue. So at night, those stomatas close, and masdevallia, they open during the day. But yes, that is why I very, very rarely go with anything on the underside of the leaves of my orchids. Unless, of course, I see bugs, and then we nuke it, you know. But my Renanthera monachica is clean on the surface of the leaves, but she still has speckles of that residue on the underside. And I'm like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Then, you know, the nasty thing is when you get like summer blooming phals in, they're brand new from the nursery. You want shiny, beautiful, clean looking green leaves. And they are the ones that mainly come and they look like they've, you know, they've been watered from above and you want to get rid of it. I understand that. It'll come off eventually, but gradually, in small steps. I have a hummingbird in my, what? If I have a hummingbird here, hell has frozen over. There are no hummingbirds in southern Spain, to my knowledge, but if there are, then I would like to know where. Maybe it's one of those big black carpenter bees, and they are a sign of change, and it can be negative, although I prefer to think positively, but just because you see a carpenter bee doesn't mean that it's a positive change, but I'll take a positive change. I mean, things can't get much worse. Anyway, where are we? Michelle Carini, I have a couple of Habenaria Medusa. Hang on a second, I'm going to mute. Sorry about that. I thought the car was about to start its music. Anyway, If they have sprouted, water them. Water, water, water. If they sprout, put like, vale, saludamos. Okay, muy bien. Anyway, if they have sprouted, oh, Habenaria medusa, how beautiful. Water them. Get them straight away. And then after you've watered them, give them a light dose of fertilizer, get them going, and then treat as per the season. They are gorgeous. Where, I would like to know where Sandy saw something. I can smell my Zygopetalum from over here. My goodness, she's intense. The most intense fragrance ever. And you know what? It proves to me that that would be an orchid that has now matured. Yes, we need to repot her again. Yes, I have to disturb her again. But the intensity of this fragrance with the blooming, we've got ourselves a settled in zygo now. Very happy. Thank you, Fernanda. No hummingbirds this side of the world. I don't know what we did to them. Shame. The first time I saw a hummingbird was when I was in Texas and I was sitting outside on my deck. And I heard this zzz, zzz. Oh, that makes my tongue tickle. But there was a noise like somebody was, like you have your guitar strings, and when you move your fingers across the guitar strings too quickly, and you have that zip line kind of a sound, zzz, like that. Oh, that makes my tongue tickle. I heard that noise and I was looking around. I was like, what is that noise? And then I saw the tiniest thing in my life. Nobody needed to tell me it was a hummingbird. I had never seen a hummingbird, not even in pictures. I'd heard about them. Small little green thing right about where I had some little plants and blooms planted. And I just, it's like if somebody comes to Kenya, we take them on safari and and they see their first lion. You just stare speechless. And you think you're the luckiest person in the world at that moment in time. And you just stare, and it's like you're frozen, just staring at it, And then I saw it more and more often, but it's like the cutest thing ever. But that noise that they make because of the speed of their wings, that was incredible. You're very welcome, Michelle. Your first year. That's awesome. I had them on my wish list a while ago. I think they're so pretty. Yes, they are awesome to watch. But I then put out a hummingbird feeder because I thought, hey, now that I know that some are coming, well, one that I could think, for me, the one I saw, the next time I saw it, looked like the same one. What do I know? I'll tell you that lion's mane looks different from the lion's mane that we saw 2 days ago. So there's 2 different lions in this territory, but hummingbirds, no. Anyway, so I thought, yippee, I got myself one of those hummingbird feeders and blah de blah. Didn't want the feeder, it came for the blooms. And what I had planted there was something I can't, if I find it here, I'm going to pot this plant into one of my pots on the patio. I see it would be a memory for me from Dubai. It's one of those common plants that they have in all the landscaping roundabouts. It grows really, really tall and has a very striking, beautiful purple bloom that reminds me of a Phalaenopsis violacea. But they're like very tall, not shrubby. They come in single stems and then they bloom out these purpley blooms. And I really should know the name of it because I've Googled it 100 times, but it's one of those names that never sticks in my mind. But if I see it in a garden center, and it was that plant that I had on my deck, around my deck in Texas. I purposely bought it when I saw it at Lowe's, and I'm like, hey, that's a positive thing. Let's plant that around my deck. And then that hummingbird came. It was awesome. It's your time, hey? Bringing those hummingbirds in. That's so cute. Nina, one last question. Vandas came with bark media. Keep them in it with it, or can I put them in with it? You can, in the future, put them without media, but I would start very, very gradual, depending on how many roots that are viable are in the pot that they came in with the bark. You do not want to go with a root system that is accustomed to having a specific amount of humidity and access to water, etc., around that root system into, let's go and grow this Van de Beer root. You'll kill that root system very, very quickly. So if you want to put them in the basket without media, I would say put them in the basket, but make sure that you do put something there to help the roots understand that until new roots grow, they're getting still the same access to water. Whether you fill it up with bark again and then pick out the bark bit by bit, but do not expose them to bare root growing right out of the gate after they've been in a pot with media. They will die. A hummingbird moth. Okay, I shall have to look that up. Hey, Amina Zamaikina in the house. Good morning. Hummingbird moths are huge, okay? Huh. You guys are adding to my list of things to Google. They're still seedlings? Then put them in a basket, but put sphagnum moss or something water retentive, something that raises the humidity, so that every seedling, no matter what kind of seedling, whether it's going to be a big orchid or a miniature orchid, a seedling needs more humidity and more water than the mature version of the same orchid would need. Don't just throw them into something dry. Unless your humidity is about 85% around the orchid at all times. I'm not joking. We're talking about seedlings. Do not grow it bare root. It won't make it. So if you put that basket, make sure it has water retentive media around it because it's going to need it. Coffee, Nina. You're very, very welcome. Thank you. Yeah, hummingbird moths. I'm going to have to get something else. Yeah, I'm going to have to remember that for my Google list. I can't look it up now. It's the same size as a hummingbird. Dang. And now you're suggesting that I had a hummingbird moth here? I wouldn't imagine. But I promise you, I think that if I had a Zygopetalum in Texas on my deck, probably the hummingbird would want some of that and be very disappointed because all the fragrance it's throwing out is so enticing, but there's nothing to draw from. I don't think hummingbirds are endangered, are they? Or is it just because they're so cute that everybody goes bananas over them? I've always wondered about that. I know it sounds like a dumb question, but what is the thing about hummingbirds that makes everybody want to be so attentive about their needs? Just because they're cute? Okay, you guys have me with this hummingbird moth. Let me get another device. I now have to Google it. I mean, what are old phones for, right? Let's look at this one. This one still works. What do you mean something went wrong? Okay, hang on a second. Let's search hummingbird moths. Y'all have got me so curious about this now. Dee. Hummingbird moth. Let's have a look. Meanwhile, it's an old phone. Bear with me. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Wow. Oh, they're huge. It's like they've got proper eyes. I mean, sorry. Duh. But it's like the eyes are like bird eyes. They are very territorial. Yes, I have noticed that as well. But there's something about, I don't know, the United States and their hummingbird feeders. I mean, I was smitten when I saw my hummingbird, but it's almost like What we used to do in, excuse me, it's almost like what we used to do in Kenya when it came to conservation, that we would put out habitats for things that were endangered, or like in Germany for hedgehogs. Oh, sorry. Or like in Germany for hedgehogs during the winter, we would make sure that throughout the property, like in my property, I would have like boxes and a lot of leaves and everything to create a habitat because they were endangered in Germany. So that's why I was thinking our hummingbirds are not endangered, are they? It's just because they're cute and they need a lot of sugar, right? Because they're constantly in motion. I mean, they don't even sleep. Sorry about that gate. They don't even sleep properly or long enough. Tomato worm turn into hummingbird moths. You've got a mutant, Josh Riepsommer, because from what I've just read here, there's larvae. Hummingbird moth larvae. Now that's a mouthful. But your tomato worms turn into hummingbird. They are adorable. And are they all green? Because I saw a green one, like an emerald green one. Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, she wore a dress once, sparkling emerald dress, and I thought that's what my hummingbird looked like. Oh, that not mine. Here's me claiming my hummingbird, but that's what that one looked like. It was sparkling green, gorgeous. Yes, okay. I met a gentleman in Alaska that recorded them in slow motion. They have entire wow. Sorry, motorbike. There should be a place there in Spain to find out if you. I have seen hummingbird videos that are in slow motion, also with their resting heart rate, like when they are resting. Okay, some are endangered. Their migrating routes and habitat is being destroyed. Okay, that's it. All right, hummingbird habitats are in danger. Okay, lots of different colors. You're looking at an orange one. I am so lost. I'm lost as in Sandy is looking at an orange one. Right now? At your place? Tomato worms, but they're caterpillars. They're pretty caterpillars too. Well, that's a conundrum, Josh. You don't want to destroy that, but you want your tomatoes. I can see that there are some conflicts there, maybe. Hang on a second. Just one moment. Let me get something more to guzzle down. Oh, now, can I just have a spring check, please? Has everybody's spring arrived by now? It's May. Hello. Ooh, here comes the neighbor with his music. All right. Sorry about that. I'm not complaining. He's got good taste in music, but if it's not that, he's honking his horn. Yes, they would. Finally, spring has arrived. That is great news. Not in Eastern Canada yet. Oh my goodness. Blaze has got it. Dang, some people, man. I remember when I was gardening in Germany, as in my own garden, It would be such a difficult thing to have to wait to plant your annuals until the 15th of May because you can get a false spring and then frost would still come. So frustrating. Meanwhile, my garden was full of tulips and daffodils and all kinds of goodies that snowdrops, any kind of bulb I could put in the ground just to, come pop up and brighten up my early springtime. And the garden centers would be loaded with annuals, and you're like, come on, seriously? And then also my fruit trees would start blooming, and then we'd have a late frost. It was so frustrating. Spring in the Rockies. That that must be awesome. I've never been there. Never been to the Rockies. Amina still has 10 degrees and rain non-stop. Y'all have had a lot of rain. Okay, now we have a cranky car here. It's all kicking off. I wonder how the background noise is when I speak. It's probably louder when I stop speaking. We still have cranky old diesel cars, mine included. And we still do the idle thing here, leave the car on idle. Sometimes I'm on my patio getting gassed out by fumes because we don't switch the engine off here for whatever reason. Incredible. I'm glad you've got your tulips out now. Hang on a second, you guys. How bad is that? Is it bad? Okay, thank you, Brea. Okay, thank you. It's like in my ears. But we also get, oh, that was him. We also get like gas deliveries, the gas bottles and all that business. They come. And those things, when they come around the corner, you know what? It just doesn't stop. When they come clanging around the corner, it's just constant. And now there's silence. And usually, I've got everything ready to go to film. I hit record, and all of a sudden, can you hear the silence and the birds? And then when I finish recording, it's beautiful nirvana on the patio, and I've just dealt with a cacophony of commotion. I never got to the Rockies. Meanwhile, what would a trip have been from Dallas to Colorado? The States is so difficult. Looking at the map, it doesn't look that far, but then you get in the car and you could be driving for 16 hours. Suddenly, it's not just a road trip, it's a flippin' excursion. 3 days drive. Wow. Oh, you see? I look at the map, I'm like, why didn't I never go to Colorado? Okay, that's why. By the time you get there, it's time to get back. Beautiful place, though. So do you ski, Brea? Typical question from somebody who's got no clue. Everybody that lives in the Rockies is a skier. Duh. Everybody that comes from Kenya used to use drums as forms of communication. Not true. Hola, buenas tardes, José. Me alegro verte. Bienvenido a Andalucía. You snowboard. Ooh, that is respect. When I went skiing, I needed the 2 sticks and both feet firmly on the ground. I don't need this. That's mad respect. I had such a bruise because I could never carve in when I was turning right. The right side of my outer thigh. I always crashed because my left side was weaker. Oh my goodness. But we had fun. And I've never ever had shin splints like that in my life ever again. And the only reason I went skiing was because it was a school trip when I was in Germany. So for 2 years in a row, school trip, we went skiing. And I thought, yeah, at least I can check that off my list, but I'll stick to water skiing. José, el único que estamos haciendo esta tarde es aprovechando las flores de mi Dendrobium aphyllum. Así que es una charla de todo y mucho de nada, solo aquí con este Dendrobium que está en un flor increíble, increíble. It's less scary than skiing. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Not gonna try. I'll take your word for it. I used to water ski. That was so much fun. I even got to the point where I was water skiing barefoot. That was great. I never went, hang on a second. I never started with a mono ski. I used to drop a ski and then go mono. But I never started out of the gate, out of the water, or on the beach with a mono. I always started with two, and then eventually I went barefoot. You're at the foot of the Rockies. I used to ski when you were young, yeah. The shin splints, they were insane. I just couldn't with those boots. It was so painful. But once you got going, you got going. And then one time, I remember with the father of my children, we were up in Perlite in Österreich and got avalanched in. I was already heading back to work and he was staying, so I drove to the next town, the next ski resort, and from there the road was closed to Innsbruck, and it was a shame. I did not tell my boss I wasn't going to be at work on Monday because I thought I'm just going to go for the weekend, I'll be back on Monday. And I was not supposed to leave the country because I was on call. It was very, very awkward. Meanwhile, I made it to work with 1 hour delay because I was not leaving my car where the plows were clearing the avalanche. I needed to get to Innsbruck. I needed to get on a flight. And if I wasn't going to get on a flight, I was going to drive all the way to work. And I came with 1 hour delay, tired, but bubbly and fully rested as to everybody else, I tell you. I was so nervous. And I'm not usually a person that breaks the rules because these things happen to me. I abide by the rules and, you know, everybody else can do shenanigans and get away with it. But when I do it, something happens untoward and I get in trouble. So the easiest thing for me to do is just behave. Don't do anything that could cause potential trouble. And of course, 9 times that you do everything right, if you had gone and done something you shouldn't have, nothing would have happened. Nothing would have gone wrong, right? The one time that I do it, and yes, never again. It was fun while we were there, though. Anyway, you got to make the best of 5 snowy months. I guess you do, yes. And my grandma always said there's no bad weather, there's just wrong clothing. So I have to say that if I lived in that kind of an environment, Brea, I would probably not have the cold affect me so much. Nina, when you have a moment, I just got a wee Leptotis bicolor potted in bark. When is their growing season? Right now. Awaiting new growths. Keep looking. No import adjustments. That is awesome. So she's small. My Leptotis is currently in bloom. So if yours is a little one, then I'm wondering if she has already come with fully matured growths from where she came from, and you may need to wait 4 months, and then they'll start new growths, or she has as yet to grow new growths. So just to give you an idea, mine is in bloom. And if you're saying she's small, maybe it is a seedling or it's a mature but a division. I have to be a good girl, Sandy. I swear, every time. I mean, I was naughty in my high school. We got a rule book when we first enrolled in the school as part of our welcome kit. The whole, it wasn't like a handbook that you get when you're first time with an employer about the policies of the company, but it was a rule book, like a little pocket book you could fit in the back of your pocket so you could look at it and make sure that whatever, you can learn the rules. I broke every single rule in that book. I made it my mission. And it was a boarding school, but let me tell you, there were some hairy stunts, and then there were some that were harmless, and everybody would have a giggle if I were caught. So I made sure that if it was something risky, it would be funny enough, but harmless, nobody would get hurt. But I did leave the campus several times in the trunk of a car, and skipped church many, many times. Oh, goodness me. Which is obviously not that easy to do because there's a head count at church. So I don't know. I think the teachers knew and they let some get away with it and some they didn't. Otherwise, I cannot understand how we got away with skipping church. It's just that there was one church that we went to every month. It was 3 hours long. Nobody understood a word. And yes, we were supporting the local Kikuyu community, and we would all go to their church once a month for 3 hours. But you don't understand a thing because everything was in Kikuyu. And nobody wanted to do that, really. So we went to the Mau Mau trails and lay in the vines of nature's jungle and sunbathed instead. And then washed down and freshened up in the waterfalls before donning our Sunday best to slowly hike back so that we're not all hot, sweaty, and dusty, and somehow join the queue for dining hall to eat lunch and not look like we've just got a sunburn. Crazy. Oh, goodness. Thank you. But you know what? I remember when we were doing this that some people got a little bit too, let's say, courageous, because if you think you get away with it once, you're super, super careful, right? So the first time you're doing it, you're nervous, you're covering your back, you're covering all the bases, making sure that you're not like, doing anything obvious, blah, blah, blah. But then you become more complacent, the more, like maybe the next time you're very careful again. Get away with it. By the third and the fourth time, it's like you start dropping your guard, and that's when things could go wrong. And then maybe you're doing everything right, but there's an idiot in your group that does something wrong, and you all get caught. So we had to be extremely careful and selective who we were letting in, because we didn't need somebody to bust our moves. That's where I started smoking as well. No smoking in the school? All right, let's get some cigarettes. Now I vape. But yeah. And for other things, I waited until I was 18. So read between the lines. At least I had that much sense within myself to say, if I'm going to break that rule, I'm going to wait until I'm 18. Okay, so and I turned 18 over a Christmas break, and I had still had another 6 months to go. So if that was one of the last rules I broke, there you go. I still had enough, let's say, within me to say no. Josh Riebsommer, my Zagaric Wax African Beauty. Oh, no. It's the grow lights. It's your conditions. It's not ahead of time. It's right on time for you. I was, yesterday, I was in front of my east shelf. I was thinking maybe I should do a video about the orchids I intend to rescue that are in desperate rescue mode for 2023. And I could only find two. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? There was a whole gaggle. There was a whole list. Where are they? I thought, okay, we'll just scrap that idea. I'll probably still do it when I find the other ones. But why did I buy a whole bag of lava rock if I only have two orchids to rescue? I'm telling you, my mind. And I still haven't found that seedling I was talking about in my seedling exodus video. I had a group of 4. I know it. I don't know. Bizarre. She is a beautiful, beautiful orchid. And I messed it up. It's a Catlianthe. It's a bifoliate. What can go wrong? You get the Leca wrong. Even repotting at the right time. This orchid, no. Nope, we're going to do lava rock. She is a stunning orchid. Love that one, especially when the buds start. Josh, you're, a little bit of envy and drooling here. Sandy was 15. Okay, all right. There you go. Goodness me. And then one time we had, we didn't go to school, you know, in Germany. The first time in Germany when I went to the business school as a gap year before I entered my apprenticeship for the hotel gastronomy and all that business. That is my profession. The first year we had days that we didn't go to school because it was too hot. Okay, so I just came from Kenya and I'm like, excuse me? You what? You don't go to school? Why, it's 25 degrees? Okay. I mean, I'm not questioning. I just think it's a bit ridiculous. But hey, when in Germany, you know, do as the Germans do. In German, it's called hitzefrei. Okay. And I said, well, meanwhile, I come from Kenya, and this is what we did every day, and it was hotter and more humid. And yes, we wore shoes and socks. But anyway, I said the only reason that we would skip school, or let's say the first 2 hours, is because we had buffalo on the campus. True story, you know, especially during the months, as you know, our school year ended in July, so graduation was always around July, and then we'd be back in September. But usually by the months of May, June, and into July, there wouldn't be that much grass left down in the valley, so they would start to come up through the bushes and up the escarpment, and then they would end up on our upper field where we had soccer, rugby, and American football and all that going on. And that is when you would see them in the morning. There's a huge herd of buffalo on the campus, so everybody was told to stay in their dorms until it got too warm, and the buffalo would retreat back into the bushes, and then we could go to class. But we wouldn't skip a whole day. And I was like, oh, hitzefrei, it's too hot. Okay, what do we do now? We go swimming. Fair enough. Snow days. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You grow yours in lava. Yeah. Congratulations. And I am so glad that helped you. I am so glad to hear that. Because I am going back to lava. I was so tempted to do it in bark again because, you know, stop with the experimenting. The 2 repots in the past have not worked. She is growing a new growth, peoples. And that was part of the parcel of this video I was going to do about what I intend to rescue and what my expectations are moving forward if anybody else had a similar problem and is rescuing orchids, not to be freaking out because we're taking the right measures at the right time. Anyway, all of that was in my head, and I thought, let's pull the orchids that I'm going to rescue. And when I just got my 2 out, I'm like, woman, next time make a list, would you? So, and I know I did a video of planning ahead, but that didn't include the other ones I was thinking of. Anyway, so lava rock it is. Happy to see you. José, lo siento mucho, espero que estás bien. Lo siento que no estoy hablando tanto español. Perdóname. Perdóname, por favor. Espero que estás bien. Agradezco muchísimo tu apoyo aquí. I hope that she has that fragrance for you. I hope she has that fragrance for you. First time blooming Catleanthe, I wouldn't see why not. But I bet you had a field trip watching those buds develop. Those buds, they are something else. It's like the spikes of a Maasai red. It's just like, first you get this little green thing coming and all of a sudden they turn black and they just grow and grow and grow. And then all of a sudden the buds come and they're black. I don't know. I think somebody beyond the hedge thinks I'm talking to them. So Fernando says she's not using bark anymore. In fact, orchid bark is not available in Portugal. Lava rock more and more, yes. And you know, like I said in one of my videos, I started growing my Phalaenopsis in lava rock, and that was like the Alexandra Phalaenopsis. And I had her in lava rock, and she was just insanely beautiful, growing well. Meanwhile, I had still had lights on and heat on and da-da-da, and that's when she gave me this most enormous, gorgeous branching spike. But she loved it in lava rock, and then Dum Dum here says, no, everybody's going into Leca and self-watering, also because of the weight of the pots. I have to keep reminding myself the weight of the pot increases, and can you handle it further down the line, long term? The answer is no. So I moved her, and yeah, she doesn't like it. She's taking forever to accept what's going on, and she will eventually come around, but you know, orchid's metabolism, super slow, like mine in my mid-50s. My metabolism is also non-existent, so, except I'm fattening up and my orchids are declining. Come on, this is not the way it's supposed to be. But yeah, I love lava rock. The only downside, I mean, I had Coilostylus in lava rock. When I just started my channel, I was switching Coilostylus into Leca because if they're vigorous, you're repotting a lot, and lava rock is detrimental to roots, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Even one of my Coilostylus still has lava rock in the middle because what I'm trying to do is let her grow out, and then I can make divisions and, you know, that kind of thing. Because it just shreds the roots. It's not an easy repot. It's not kind. About lava rock, is it more difficult to flush? No, no, it's not more difficult to flush if you are over fertilizing. In general, everything is going to be more difficult to flush. No, it makes absolutely no difference. If your fertilizer levels are dialed in, then your flushing your routine doesn't change. It's no different. The only thing with lava rock is it's just so fantastic for humidity on the surface that if the surface layer dries out, if you're not working in clear pots, you will you can be easily deceived to think that the rest of the pot is dry as well. And that, you know, it's sometimes too much is not a good thing either. That's the only thing. The salt accumulation is a little bit more dangerous in lava rock because there's so many more nooks and crannies. It's that's another thing, but that would all tie in together if there's too much fertilizer going in. Josh says, I've been using lava rock more as well, and big pumice. Yes. That's lava rock and big pumice. So separate or mixed? I use this expanded glass. It's puffy to compensate for the weight of the lava. Okay. Expanded glass. That's like the sponge rock, if I'm not mistaken. Seidenferdenia mitrata, Robbie. Super high humidity. I'm talking 85 to 90% consistently. A lot of airflow, a lot of light. Seidenferdenia mitrata, I had one. And I'm telling you, I only got like 4 little spikes with 3 little blooms on each spike, and the perfume was insane. I lost my Zydenfadenia mitrata because they hate root disturbance. I couldn't keep up with my low humidity, even though I missed it a lot. Then I put her into semi-hydro. I knew I was going to lose the old roots, but I saw new roots coming, and I went under the principle, now's the time, new roots, they'll get accustomed, they're going to love the water. But because I had to mist the surface to maintain the new root growth, I lost the tiny structures of the new growth. So it was a hat-trick effect of decline after decline, and I lost the orchid entirely. My root growth would start and it would stop within like 5 inches. I would have to grow my Zydenfadenia mitrata in my hedge where the angraecoids are and not move her for her to be happy, but there's no point in doing that, is there? So I never replaced her. What a beautiful orchid, though. Absolutely beautiful. I wish she would have responded to being put into Leca and self-watering the way my Labucensis is doing. I'm looking at her now. She came outside 2 days ago. I'm losing one root, but the other root is still functioning, so she's not going downhill. Unfortunately, yeah. Oh my goodness, the blooms, you're right, they're sweet, they're cute, they're tiny, but oh my goodness, do they come with a fragrance. It is insane. You have it hanging from a center to where my thumb, okay, that's great. Just be aware of how sensitive the roots are when they're in active growth. I I used to look at my Zydenfadenia mitrata, but back in the day when I still had my Vanda tub and my Vandas were soaking, basket and all, the whole thing, that when they were still at that size, the Zydenfadenia mitrata in my climate was at the iron gate below the aphyllum we're at now, and her roots were always in the water during the summer. And then when I moved her, it was like I didn't even dare look at the new root growth. It would just look at me and go, yep, and stop growing. And that would be it. Until the next time new root growth started, and that wouldn't mean it was happening in the same year, but maybe the next season of new root growth, and we'll be back at it again. I was so excited. And I got a strong plant. Mine wasn't a weak plant. She was strong, vigorous. Oh, I wish you well with that orchid. I sincerely wish you well because she is incredible. Just like with a retusa. What is the name? Oh, what is that name? What is the name of that orchid? Not Vanda retusa. Help me, somebody in the chat. It's not a Rhynchostylus. It can't be a Rhynchostylus retusa. Anyway, retusa, Vandaceous orchid monopodial. So desperately want one of those. Has the same kind of structure of spikes, long like foxtail spikes, with tiny, tiny little blooms like the Zydenfadenia mitrata. I tried to grow her, same story, can't do it. You want to pot her maybe in lava somehow, okay? You see, I don't see why that shouldn't work. It made no sense to me. I did understand I would lose the old roots when I put mine into Leca and lava rock. Leca and self-watering. And she was growing new roots out of the apex with her new growths. And I was like, why? This should work. The moment, I don't know, they would be okay. They would start curling and maneuvering their way down. I saw one root touching the edge of the pot. It stopped growing. I was like, what is wrong with you? I saw one root going down, but then after a couple of months, I moved gently the leca away. It had stopped growing. It's like the moment they touched something, but I can't see why it shouldn't work with lava rock. I really cannot. So I'm not discouraging you. I'm just, I want to point out. Because those blooms, it's worth it. It's worth giving it a go. And keep her warm. Just keep her warm. Gosh, what is that orchid name called? Retusa. It completely escapes my mind. But anyway. Right. Why? Where are we? Does anybody have any more questions? Just checking. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. I appreciate that. That is so appreciated. Way, I got 12 thumbs up. Yay. And I've lost the chat. Why have I lost the chat? Oh, there it is. Duh. Kinder, yeah. I think for the Seidenfadenia, I think don't touch is the kindest thing you can do. It is a Rinco stylus. Okay, I just thought that the Retusa had smaller leaves. That's why it just didn't come into my head as a Rinco stylus because of the narrowness of the leaves. Yeah, well, no surprises there then that one didn't work because Rinco stylus. I can only grow vicariously and enjoy from a distance. Beautiful orchid. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had that one. 2018 and 2019. Fought hard for it. But Hakuna, nada. And then in 2020, my Seidenfadenia went. Yeah, all I can say is, Robbie, try it and keep me posted because, well, no, never mind. I can't even have her, even if it works with lava rock because of my winters. Yes, Afri orchids. Do you know Afri orchids, Schmel? I mean, here in Europe, we got ourselves a nice stash of orchids from Afri orchids, and they are in South Africa. Except for one, I got all my Anceli africanas from them. So give them a go. They have a fantastic catalog. And I think recently, actually, they sent out that they were shipping to Europe again, but I quickly deleted that email. I didn't want to even have a look at it. Not because I don't like them. I'm not going into temptation. But meanwhile, yesterday I did have a little look-see into Leca to see if what they might get in as Rapiculus lalias. Not because I'm going to get any. No, 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 no. I just want to know what Floralia is up to. I'm just, you know, I have some nemesis in my brain with Floralia, and they go through Leca. And Floralia sent me out, well, they send out their price list that you can place orders for. And then they send to Leca, and Leca ships to us, distributes throughout Europe. But when I check Floralia's price list, I'm looking for some orchids some Rapiculus lalias I'd like to replace, but I wasn't going to buy them from Floralia directly anymore. So I just was double checking, The price list there didn't have the orchids I'm looking for. Now I keep venturing to Leca to see if maybe I can, the rubescens still escapes me. That's another thing. You order orchids, you're looking forward to them, you finally found them, and then the order is delayed because, global cooties. Then the order comes in, and then you don't have the ones you were looking for. Then you're fighting for a refund or a replacement, either or. So they tell you, we're going to replace them, and you wait another 6 to 9 months, and nothing happens. Then you fight for a refund. And with more and more of these layers of controversies coming in, the more and more amplified you get about wanting that orchid. It's like closing a chapter, Get me a Laelia rubescens. There was one nursery in Germany that had the Laelia rubescens. I don't want the albiform. And yeah, I never will order from that nursery again. So no matter how desperately I wanted that one, and how that nursery was the only one that had it, not doing it. Hapana. So we had try Afri orchids, and do you know the orchid channel Schmel, Orchids and Funbos? Does that say anything to you? Orchids, I'm going to type it in, and Funbos. He hasn't posted in a very, very long time, but he has several unboxing videos of nurseries that he buys from. I mean, they're probably down in not lost, but somewhere in his videos. But if you scroll through his videos, maybe he has some companies where he orders from that can ring a bell and help you out. By the way, Schmel, if you're still here listening, thank you very much. How is your Schilleriana doing? Is she just holding on? Okay. All right. So maybe you can just have a refresher and check with his unboxings. But your Schilleriana, anything? Is she just holding on? Because if she's just holding on, that's good news. Oh, I'm so sorry to read that. I'm so sorry. Okay. Don't let that put you off to try again. Okay? Don't let that put you off, please. That should not be something that is a turnoff. Hey, Orchid Ninja Chris-san. Hey, I'm still live. Yes, it's a wonderful late afternoon on the patio. Been through a few subjects, talked about everything and a little bit of nothing, but it's been extremely pleasant. It's been so nice. So good to see you. I'm glad you enjoyed that little video. Well, it wasn't exactly little, but there was a lot of driving. Part 2 shall follow. I just have to sit down and get that all edited in. It's good to see you. I meant to ask you, well, I did, but Chris Sun, the blooms that you have on your avatar now, is that Chunya Good Life? Is that orchid? Because I have a Chunya Good Life, and she reminds me. Your picture reminds me of her. Hey, Sandy. Adios. Thank you so much for coming. I know I have to as well. Ciliano is having a little bit of a conniption in his cage because he's not here. Well, maybe next time he'll learn and let me put him in his jungle gym. But yeah, I need to get him out and let him have his free fly time as well. But it's awesome. It's awesome to see everybody here. Thank you so much for joining me on aphyllum watch. And probably on Sunday, I'm going to do an up pot live stream of my Prismartocarpa. I don't need to concentrate so much with that one. I can pay attention to chat and we can have another chinwag. I think that would be a nice little stint. And if you're watching the coronation, maybe we can have a little gossip about that as well. I know I'll be watching. I've got will it wrong the best? Okay. That's awesome. I would have said, yep, that's a chunya. I would have put money on the fact. It's pretty. Very pretty. But anywho, in that case, oh, it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining me. I appreciate that you've been here. I don't mean to jump on you, Chris Sun. You guys take care of yourself. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for being you. And thank you for your support. Have a fabulous rest of your day. On that one condition, though, please, that you stay safe. Take care. Bye.